Hey everybody, I'm Ronan with Roro Designs Powder Coating, and let me introduce to you my current powder coating setup. What I have right here, I've been using since 2015 when I opened my business doing custom powder coating. I actually had a start with the infamous Eastwood dual voltage. That's what I used when I opened for at least 8 months. I put out some show quality finishes, which I'm super proud of. I used to work at another shop and I used a Gemma gun. It was ancient, probably from the 80s, and I knew how to use a pro gun, which that was considered a pro gun at the time. When I opened my own shop, funds went to a new oven, building racks, rent, you name it, all that kind of stuff. And I had to buy an Eastwood dual voltage. Like I said, that lasted me 8 months, and I actually upgraded to a SpectraCoat ES02 Vector Wave. That thing actually lived underneath here. I had a hopper at the time as well, that lived on top. And I used that for about 3 years until one job bit me in the ass so bad, I had to buy a pro gun. In 2018, I bought this Gemma Optiflex 2B, and this is a lab kit. Now the lab kit is just bare bones, a bracket to mount it to the wall, the actual unit itself, the gun, and a 5-pound fluidizing hopper. I've never used a box feed. I always have gone with a fluidizing hopper because I just do small runs at a time. I don't do anything production style. I'm not spraying 15, 20, 25 pounds of powder at a time. It's just usually 2 pounds for a set of wheels. And I love the customizability of being able to mix custom colors or flakes when it comes to base coats and clear coats. I don't even know where I got this rolling cart from, but I've had this since 2015 when I moved in. I have a bunch of just random mismatched nonsense in the bottom there. And up here I have my vacuum tools that I use for powder coating, and they're just in the way, they're inconvenient. The hose is always laying on the floor. I've got 25 feet of hose that needs to go 2 feet from the back of the gun to the pump itself. This has served its purpose, I can tell you that. Having said all that, I got something brand new, and this thing needs an upgrade. I am super happy to get my hands on an Electron gun. Now again, I went with a bare kit, which is basically like the lab kit. It's not a box feed, it has a hopper. It is just a unit that you mount. I believe there's a couple different mounts in here, and we're gonna be replacing basically the Gemma. I'm not gonna get rid of this entirely. There is still the use for it, but the Electron gun has been making waves in this industry ever since it came out. All the pro guys I know in this industry have all switched to an Electron, and they never touch their Gemmas, Wagners, Nordsons. Everybody is running an Electron now. So I had to jump on it and get one myself. So this I need to mount onto a cart. So that's where the next thing comes in. A brand new rolling cart. I'm gonna be replacing this entirely and making a new setup with a new cart. I went and bought this from Princess Auto, which is basically the Canadian version of Harbor Freight. It's just a cheap roll around cart, but this, I'm not gonna leave it simple and black. And the Gemma, I still want it on the cart. So I'm gonna be making the ultimate powder coating setup. I've actually had both of these sitting in my office for almost 3 weeks. I've been so busy with customers' jobs, I haven't had a chance to touch these yet. So every time I walk into my shop and every time I walk out, it has been killing me knowing I've had these things sitting here, ready to go, and now is the time. So I'm gonna get to unboxing this real quick. So now this is unboxed. Clearly, a bunch of damage on it. I'd be a fool to think that this would come in pristine condition. And of course, the powder coat job on it is whatever. There's dust and orange peel. Looks kind of crappy. But let me get this stuff out the way. I am even more excited to get this Electron out of the box. Now this unit came from First and Finishing US. I talked to Mason over there and Monty, and they added some extras in here, they said. So I am pumped to find out what it is. First of all, a hat. You cannot go wrong with a hat. Everybody loves a hat. Ooh, and a sweater. Oh, nice color too. Awesome. And a t-shirt. T-shirt, hoodie, hat, banner. That's perfect. Everyone always loves the little goodies. So this is a mount. He said he's gonna send me a couple different mount systems to see which one I would like better. So the unit obviously would bolt inside of here. Now I did say I wanted a mount just like the Gemma with the big, I guess I'd just call it the big D bracket. So that's just like what I have right now. I believe this is what mounts onto here, just like the Gemma would. Ah, yeah. So that's what this would be. Same deal. This is what mounts to the side of this, and then obviously being, you know, the whole, this clamp would go on here, whichever orientation you would like. But this is the important thing right here. This is the actual gun itself. Oh, that's a lot of boxes. So we've got the fluidizing hopper. I believe this is 3 pounds. This awesome little tackle box that has a bunch of spares in it. It's got a bunch of hoses, a bunch of O-rings, they're all in here. So that's a good way to keep everything organized. And that's why I got something with a drawer to keep something like this in. The hoses, the Electron +3 Master Series. So this is obviously all the instructions. Very, very, very important to read all this. You don't want to void any warranties. You don't want to burn out your gun. And, oh, that's pretty cool. So, flash drive. Obviously you would put this in your computer, your laptop. And this goes through just your user guide and any other information. So that's pretty sweet. Brand new pump. I believe this is a 45-degree pump. Right now I'm using I want to say a 90, but I hear these ones are really, really good. Or this is just a better design than the, you know, Gemma that I've been using for quite a while. So in this box, we have a bunch more hoses, got your air filters. I believe these are just some more maintenance parts or actual parts I'm gonna be using. The power cable, some pens, a flashlight, some stickers. Everyone always loves a sticker. And it came with a mount that you put on your cart or your table or wherever for your hopper. So that's pretty sweet that that goes in there like that. Last 2 boxes, might as well take them out of here. You can only guess what these last 2 things are gonna be. Obviously this is the unit, obviously this is the gun. Always love the packaging, look at that. Brand new Electron gun right there. This is the one with the integrated light on the back. So I'm excited to see that. At the touch of a button, you have your own light. Obviously there's a bunch of extra stuff under here. The power cord. And finally, the unit itself. Some hardware screws in there I don't want to throw away. So clearly a lot of stuff has just been unboxed. I'm gonna go through everything right now, get rid of all the cardboard and all the packaging and lay everything out even nicer, and we'll take a look at everything individually with no packaging. After a few minutes, I have all this unboxed, unpackaged, not fully with the gun. That's gonna be the last thing when everything's ready to mount. Obviously wiring this up, I've done it several times before, so all that kind of last minute when it's ready to go on the new cart. Let me give you a quick rundown on this. Let me just show you how I kind of built this and the plan for that with the Electron. So I got this L bracket from Home Depot and I just drilled holes through the cart. I bolted it up here and that's what the actual D bracket is fastened to. Now, mind you, it's a little bit loose, but that's okay. It's not failed me yet. The vent for the fluidizing hopper, I just zip tied to it so that can just blow out. Of course, there's a spot here to hang the hose and I wrap up the power cord. This is the air inlet down here. This is what I plug the actual main air into. I just drilled a hole through here and it's solid, so I don't have this hose hanging down. I gotta fight for it and go find it. I just plug into the side of the cart with my air hose and then it's all good to go. Now, all this is unnecessary. I don't need 40 feet of red hose. The hose needs to go from the pump right here to the back of the gun right here. That's 12 inches. So I could cut this down a mile and make this all nicer, neater, more tidy. I said at the beginning of this video, I'm gonna be making the ultimate powder coating setup, and that's exactly what I'm about to do. We're gonna be mounting the Electron and the Gamma both to this new cart. So first, we gotta build this cart. So I didn't want to film this part because it's obviously boring. I don't want to throw in too much time lapse, but I have this cart apart, the Gemma units up here, the mount right here, and this was the L bracket that sat along the back like so. Next thing I gotta do is go run to the Home Depot, buy another few of these because I actually want to box in right here, put one across the top to make sure it's nice and sturdy, especially since they're gonna be holding 2 units. And I basically just have to drill and mount this onto here. Remount one of these and the other one obviously. Then I can break it all down once again. A little bit of marking, cutting, and drilling. Run to the hardware store to get some more bars, some hardware that I'm gonna replace a bunch of this with. This is turning out exactly how I envisioned it. Gemma's gonna be on this side. The new Electron's gonna be on this side. This thing looks sweet, it's sturdy. The next thing I gotta do is get a piece of sheet metal to fill in this gap right here. I want this to be completely closed off past this lip because I have to hide a bunch of hooks, power bar, and some other stuff back here because I want to be able to get the hoses and mount them on the back so they're looping this way instead of on the side to loop around. So a little bit more cutting, drilling, all that kind of stuff, but this is taking shape. You can obviously see the vision coming to life, so let's keep going. So luckily my buddy Mike down the street had this piece of sheet metal and it was exactly the size I needed except for 2 inches wide on one side, which you saw I just ripped that down really quick. Utilize the screw holes for these D brackets, both left and right sides. Now this side looks a little bit wonky. That's because the holes are oversized and I just have the little bolts in right now. Everything is just finger tight, it's all loose, but that's okay because I'm gonna be breaking this down. Once it gets fully reassembled, the units get put back in Then I have to figure out all the wires, where they're gonna run. Obviously I can run them through here, maybe through here. I'm gonna have to figure out some sort of hooks and brackets and, you know, maybe even those like zip tie style that, you know, with a clip that for, you know, cars and body harnesses and stuff like that. Maybe I can utilize something like that, but that's not for figuring out right now. That is the final stage. After I break this down, and because everything is in mismatched colors and it doesn't look nice, I custom powder coat for a living. So let's get this thing broken down, throw it all in the chemical stripper, get it back to bare metal, and I can start sandblasting this. As you can see behind me and from the video, everything is now media blasted. Took me about an hour to do everything because I wanted to be very thorough with it being flash rusted from the wash process. Now, the next thing to do would be to get everything into the other side of the shop, hang it on the racks, and get to coating. Of course, blow it off to make sure there's no dust left on it. But I've been back and forth a ton on color and what I want to do theme-wise with this, especially because it's going to live indoors. I don't want to do crazy metallics because you're not really going to see it. It's not going to shine and sparkle as if it was outside in the sun. So I've landed on a color and theme that's pretty in your face and will look great in a shop light setting. And then I just realized I don't even have a coating system set up at all to even coat this new rolling cart. So the gamut is gonna have to go back together really quickly. It's only about 6 hoses and wires, and the fluidizing hopper is already set up. The gun's set up, it's just laying over there on the floor. So I'm gonna get that set up on this rolling cart so we can even begin to coat the new one. And the finished product obviously speaks for itself. This is really in your face and it's something I'm insanely proud of. I have not stopped smiling since this came out of the oven. The contrast between a glossy neon yellow and a flat black is really something special. This just looks absolutely killer. I don't want to waste any more time. Let's get this thing back together. And just like that, this thing is back together. It looks incredible. I added a few extra bolts here and there to make it a bit more sturdy. I went obviously to Home Depot and got a bunch of, really good hardware, not this little crappy stuff that came from the Princess Auto cart. Obviously now with the drawer inside, it looks really good. It has this foam layer for the bottom. I'm actually going to put some of that on here and underneath here. That's why I didn't put so much splatter effect there, because I'm gonna cover it anyway. So with the backside, I added this hook right here. That actually was on the side of the Gamma system to wrap the hose up, but I'm gonna put this here to run any other hoses and wires on the back. I can just hook them on here so they're just neat and out of the way. Probably both power cords for the systems will just wrap up in this. And I have a power bar. I'm gonna add that on the back right here. I don't know how I'm gonna mount it yet because I haven't taken it out of the box, but a bunch of stuff is gonna go on the back. My vacuum for two-tone powder coating is gonna live underneath. So all of this is gonna plug in nice and neat on the back. I'll run the cords up the sides here. If I have to drill more holes and add zip ties, that's totally fine. I'm okay to do that. But this thing is just beyond my expectations of how I thought it's gonna turn out. So with that being said, I need to mount both systems in here. Then I can start trimming, running, and doing all the fancy stuff with the wires and hoses. I just want to interrupt this video really quick and say a massive thank you to all of the companies that support and sponsor Rower Design's powder coating. Some of these companies offer discount codes when you sign up to my Patreon page. If you haven't already seen it, go check it out. It's where I post a ton of helpful videos and tutorials, as well as online courses when it comes to learning about powder coating. Microclimate Air for their new fresh air breathing mask. R2R Axis anchors for their new wheel and part hanging systems. Coatings by Coats for two-tone vacuum accessories and a ton of other fun stuff that you can get for powder coating to make your life a lot easier. Emerald Coatings for their powder coating powders and supplies. High Temp Mask and Supply for their plugs, caps, hooks, and tape. And of course, First in Finishing, you guys are rock stars for getting me hooked up with this new Electron gun. You can check out all these companies and what they have to offer through the Rower Designs Patreon page, or if you message me directly. Of course, all these links are gonna be in the bio. So check them out, support the companies that help support Rower Designs. Having said that, I did film myself doing a bunch of assembly, but it was completely boring footage. Nobody would want to see that. It would have just ended up being a bunch of time lapse of me moving around and you wouldn't really have seen what was going on. I took 20 trips to the hardware store to get different hoses, connectors, wires, airline fittings. So there's no point filming all that. Without any more delay, let me introduce to you the ultimate powder coating setup. And just like that, in a matter of 35 minutes for you, 2 weeks for me, this was getting done in between customer projects. I had to just have the Gamma on the old cart while I did some other customer stuff. But this thing, back and forth, you know, trips to the hardware store, actually start to finish, took me about 2 weeks to complete. It was well worth the wait. I couldn't be happier how this turned out, and I cannot wait to use this brand new Electron. And of course, with how wild and in your face this color scheme is, I had to brand it with the Rower Designs logo, obviously there on the back. So thanks to my friend Dave for cutting that for me. Really short notice. I had him do that last night when knowing today I was gonna finish this up and finish filming this video. And of course, just to add a little bit of flair, I had to LED light this thing up with crazy dancing lights. It's just gonna be so cool to shoot some content at nighttime under a black light, especially if I'm coding any neon colors. I can just create the wildest videos now going forward to post on my social media. And of course, as you saw, I now have the drawer. I have all my accessories, my different guns, my tips, my coding by code stuff is in there for when I use the vacuum. So I've got the rigid back here, and obviously the hose with the attachments for whenever I'm gonna be doing any two-tone work or removing powder in areas that I don't want it. That's why it's so handy to have that on there, because this always lived on my floor and it was always in the way dragging the hose around. And especially when it came time to clean up, I had to just pick it up and move it completely out of the way. But now that everything is contained into one rolling cart, it is one outlet to plug and power this whole system. I can just unplug it, roll it to the other side of the shop and clean up without any fuss. So for right now, I'm just gonna be using this one fluidizing hopper. And the best part is I added these hooks up here for when I'm not using the Electron. I can just keep this fluidizing pump up here. Obviously that's gonna plug in right here. And if I wanna use the Gamma Optiflex, I can just take it off that hook and plug this one right in here. So it is a completely dual purpose unit. And the best part is there's one air line to run into the back, which will power both systems up. Now, if you remember from before, there was just 25 feet or 40 feet of red and black hose just sitting underneath my shelf. But this, like I said, I was gonna have this nice and neat out the way. So this is the hose for the Electron unit. It's up here on a hook that goes through, you know, bolted through. There's hooks on both sides. The one on the back side here is for the pump, and right here is for the hoses. Got a power bar to power everything, all the LED lights, and a charger if I'm gonna charge any of my accessories, my flashlights for the guns, and obviously the hose on this side for the Gamma. It still does look a little bit messy, but I tried to make it the best I can. If I move this hose out the way, you can see that this is just all zip tied nice and neatly. On both sides, I added this little metal shelf. It came in black, so I didn't have to powder coat that, and the power bar just runs through it, and all the rest of the airline system is sitting under here. So I had to rig all this up. I had to go find a fitting. So this is a T. So this is obviously powering either side of the machines into one filter system and the main plug-in for the airline. So this card is completely, you know, a 2-for-1, which is super exciting. So it's time for me to get this thing into use. I have 3 sets of wheels blasted right there, ready to go. I gotta get some practice on this Electron. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next project.